All right. What's up, chat? What is going on today? Alexander and Austin, welcome. Welcome on this hot, steamy episode 23. It is extremely hot in my house, but we have cards to review today, as per usual. So hopefully you guys are having a good Wednesday today. And as we're waiting for some folks to get in, yeah, I know, Alexander. Well, I always appreciate people's patience, you know. So thank you for sticking with it. Definitely appreciate it. So yeah, I think we are just going to make sure that everything is good on my end. And looks like it is. Okay, so we're just gonna get right into it. So, if there is anyone new, welcome. My name is Galaxia Gaming, and every Wednesday we do what's called grade review. So, we review the community members' cards for free, and we just give a general assessment on what I think it's going to get, and chat is going to weigh in as well on what we collectively think that the card would get as a PSA grade. So, we're just going to jump right into it. So, this group of submissions is from Poke. So, Poke has been notorious for sending in some stuff. So, we are just going to get right into it. So, first up, we have the Magneton. I think he has a lot of Magnetons, a lot of base set 2 tonight. So, we definitely have some work cut out for us. So, Poke has been notorious for sending some pretty good conditioned cards. So, I'm eager to see what comes of it. Aaron, thanks so much for liking the live. I appreciate that. So let's take a look. So centering of this card looks good. Corners look good. Edges look good. Also, the holo looks good. So far, so good. And with the little magnifying glass tool here, I am not seeing a lot of holo scratches. So far, so good. And as we flip it over on the back, we do see a little bit of whitening, but man, it is like next to nothing. So we have some in the top left there, not too bad. We have a little bit on the bottom left. But aside from that, chat, this card is looking really nice. It's looking really nice. So, since we have a few people in here, but not enough to hit the 10, because normally I like to wait for 10 people to open it up for a chat review. So I would probably imagine that since the corners of this card are really good, the edges of this card are really good, and the really nice thing is this holo pattern is super clean for this Magneton. In addition, there is virtually no whitening on the back. So I would probably say, man, I'd probably say a 9, 8 or a 9, honestly. Probably more even towards the 9 if the holo looks as good on the picture as it does in person. So yeah, Aaron, I also agree. I'm thinking 9 as well. So next up, probably one of the harder cards to go through the grading process is the Chansey. So the Chansey, being a normal type, is very notorious for having really easy to identify, easy to spot print lines or scratches or anything like that. So that's something we have to definitely look out for sure. So right off the bat, I do see some like what appears to be dirt on that top yellow border, as well as above the MO and Pokemon near the basic Pokemon section in that top left. So that should be pretty easy to get rid of. The other thing I also notice is it almost looks like a very, very straight folded line right on the top of the Chansey. And I think in this case, I think you should be able to potentially flatten that out. you know, just the kind of the classic, put it in between some heavy books or something like that, and just kind of flatten that out. As long as your environment it's a little bit humid, you could also, you know, goes without saying, you could also get the humidor action going, get it nice and plumped up, and kind of approach it that way. But that's just something I see right there on the top. So as we go down, the edges look good. The surface near the text looks good. And I am not seeing any print lines, which is a huge plus for you for this Chansey. So that's really good. So let's flip it over. And besides a lot of these little fuzzy dots that can most likely just be wiped away with a microfiber or something like that. That might be... Well, I don't even really think we saw anything on the front. Because that would be... So that's on the right on this picture. So that'd be right here on the left. But I don't see anything. So it might just be how the angle was taken based off of the flash. So I'm not really chalking that up. This honestly might be another 9. In my opinion. Just based off if we can flatten this out, this top part. If we can't, then it's probably even going to go down to like a 7 would be my guess, or even a 6. If this is as bad as what we're seeing. But if we can flatten that out, which in most cases you should be able to, you're probably looking at another 9. I think so too, Aaron. If you kind of give that nice little clean there in the top left, you should be pretty good. And look, speak of the devil. Here he is. Alright, next up we have the Ninetales. Welcome in, Poke. So far your cards are looking pretty good as always. No surprise. Alright, so next up, a very well-centered Ninetales. Yes, I agree, Aaron. Very well-centered. Edges are good, corners are good from what I can tell. Foil looks immaculate. I mean, there's really not much I can say. Flip it over. Yeah, I mean, these cards are... Yeah, that centering was awesome. On the back looks pretty good too. We do have a little bit of whitening there on that left edge. But aside from that... Yeah, I mean, aside from that, it is looking really good. It is looking incredibly good. So, let's take a look. And the Tiny Dinies. Thank you, Poke. I appreciate that very much. But aside from that, I think that's really it. You're actually just on time. Because I've been trying to start at 8 now. So, versus 7. It makes it a little bit easier for me to start at 8. So far, it's been nice. But yeah, I'd probably say probably another 9, man. Honestly, the hollow of this stuff is just immaculate. Okay, the Hitmonchan, nice little swirl there, or what's about to be a swirl, which is always nice. I know. 8 o'clock, man. I had to do a lot of chores before I hopped on, but I just chugged some coffee, so hopefully I might have to make another pot. But I'm always yawning. Centering again looks really good. Corners look good. Edges look good. I'm trying really hard not to, like, just kind of go into autopilot on how good these cards look, to be honest. I'm trying very hard. Because, man, that's probably the only, like, first scratch I've seen so far with your cards. You got one very, 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 very small one in the top left. But I don't even think it's enough to have a huge impact. But let's see. But besides that, yeah, man, it's crazy. How good these are. Again, chat, if you guys haven't seen these before, these are just like little white specks that can probably just be wiped off with a microfiber cloth. So I'm normally not too worried about those. Centering looks good again. A little bit of whitening, a little bit more whitening on this top right-hand corner compared to the other ones. So we do have that. A little bit of whitening on that left. So I'm probably thinking if we can get rid of that little piece of dust, this one might be more of an 8 than a 9 this time around. But still. Alright, next up we have the Clefairy. I think it might just be how the angle is taken, but this one, the top looks a little bit heavier than the bottom does. But not by much. Like right here, this top part looks a little bit thicker than the bottom. The left and the right look pretty good. So the only thing that I'm starting to finally see, I wish I had the cards that arrived yesterday when I submitted originally. We got the Majestic Dawn Glaceon. That's sick. Congratulations, that's awesome. We do see some scratching here on that bottom left. So this a little bit more than... So it looked like the Hitmonchan was a little bit. And then the Clefairy is just a little bit more. But again, normal types tend to make it a little bit harder to kind of hide some of those scratches. So... is it okay if I submit? Yeah, of course, Blake. No worries. Just as long as I know, you know, that I'm looking at two different copies of the card. But yeah, as long as it's like pretty like obvious to me, or if you note that, I don't mind. It's fine. Yeah, old school normal types are very hard to get 10s on, because you're talking about like the Clefairy, Chansey, Snorlax, Dragonite. Is there any tips for taking better pictures? It's hard for me to take a picture without the shadow. I guess it just depends on your setup, honestly. Like, a good rule of thumb that I do is if you kind of like zoom in on your phone a little bit more, it tends to have a little bit more detail, and then take the picture that way versus just taking it at its native zoom. But so the back has a little bit more wear and tear compared to the previous ones. So I'm thinking most of these can probably be wiped off. But we also do have a little bit more whitening on that right side, as well as the, you know, the bottom left. Have some on the top right. Yeah, a little bit more whitening this time around. And it does look like we also have some surface wear here as well on the left. But yeah, let me, so since we have a little bit more people in here, I'm going to leave it up to chat. So again, if this is the first time you are here, first, welcome. Second, I'm going to have a poll that should have been on your device now. Looks like a little blue clipboard if you want to weigh in on what you think this card would get as a PSA grade. And then what I do is at the average, so the average grade based off of the poll is what chat grade is. So here is the Clefairy on the front, and there is the Clefairy on the back. So most of the issues for this Clefairy are on the back, more so than the front. So again, if you want to weigh in on what you think it is, the little blue clipboard on the top left-hand corner of your device, you can weigh in what you think this Clefairy from base set 2 would get. But yeah, Poke, I always love looking through your cards, man. Your stuff is in such good condition. A lot better than what I took care of as a kid, that's for sure. So you're definitely doing something right. And hopefully you pass through that crazy, because you had like a twister, or like you're on like a tornado watch, right? Glad to see you're safe and sound, and I'm glad Chick-fil-A has its unnamed soldier out there on the front lines delivering the product. So kudos to you. That's what I figured, man. That's what I figured. On the road, chilling, listening to me as a podcast, which is always it's always a kind of a surreal idea, to be honest, that someone's kind of doing their day-to-day job listening to me on the background. I definitely appreciate it for sure. Don't get me wrong. I think it just I don't know. I guess I didn't really think I had like the podcaster voice until I've heard a few people telling me. So maybe I do. I don't know. Like a radio voice. All right, so chat is thinking 7 to 6. So what am I thinking this Clefairy from base set 2 would get? So again, I think the centering, at first glance, it looks a little bit thicker on the top than it does on the bottom. But the edges are good and the corners are really good. The only thing worth noting that I see, there are some faint scratches here on that left side of the hollow. But as we flip it over, excluding these little white dots on the surface, I'm imagining most of that could just be wiped off. But aside from that, most of the whitening is probably on that right side, would be my guess. So I would say for my grade, if you can get most of this stuff that's like on the surface of the card off with just like a microfiber cloth, I would probably say, you know, you're probably still dancing around like a 7 or 6. If you can't, it's for sure a 6. But I think based off of just seeing some of your pictures in the past with some of like what edges look more white because of the camera flash or just the film grain that some of your pictures look, which is totally fine. I would imagine most of that's just like a light illusion or a lighting effect. But I'd probably say a 7 if that is true, and then a 6 if it's not. Yeah, right, it's gonna be my job to clean them up. Alright, last but certainly not least, the evolution. The Clefable. The Clefable. Looks like it almost had... I thought I saw 2 swirls, but it looks like it just has the 1. Let's see. So this time around, we have a little bit of something near the fighting energy there. Also to the right of the 2... let's see. Maybe a little bit thicker on that right side than the left, but not by a crazy amount. It might be interesting to see when we flip it over, but right where the tip of my mouse is, there might be a little ding, but it's really kind of hard to tell, to be honest. So let's flip it over. Oh yeah. Yeah, this one's a little bit more loved for sure. Then it seems like it started with the Hitmonchan. It's kind of interesting. It went from the Hitmonchan being like a 7, then the Clefairy being like a 7 or 6, and now we're kind of dancing around like a 6 or a 5. But let's keep looking. So that left edge, obviously, yeah, definitely at the bottom of the stack for sure. But that left side is a lot more going on than the right for sure. But we definitely have some whitening going on the back. And I'm trying to see if there's anything that I noticed like on this left side, for example, being on the right, because sometimes if it's bad enough, it kind of it doesn't like transfer per se, but it kind of carries over to the front. J King, thanks so much for liking the live. I appreciate it. And Greg, thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate it very much, guys. So I would say, just to kind of gauge here, I think just by the whitening alone, on the back, and plus like the dirt and whatever on the front, hoping you can get most of that off if you could. Oh yeah, of course, J King. I'm stoked to see how you like it. I knew nothing about shirts, I'm gonna be honest. I just like I designed the shirt, don't get me wrong, but when I was picking out the material, I just thought to myself, what do I want to wear? And that's pretty much how I chose it. But yeah, congrats on winning, and you'll definitely have to let me know how you like it. So I'm probably thinking that for this one, I mean, I'm probably thinking 5, honestly, for this bad boy. The front looks good. I don't know, maybe like a 6 or a 5. Probably like I'd probably be more conservative and say 5, because if there's this much whitening on the back, there's probably a little bit more that we can't see. So I'd probably say conservatively, this Clefable is probably a 5. So awesome. Well, thank you, Poke, as always, for. It's funny to me because every time you submit your submission, it's always themed, meaning that it's always like within the same set. Because I think the last one we looked at for you was like Team Rocket, I believe, and that one was base set 2. So it's always so interesting to see that you take the pictures in the set order. I don't know if you do that intentionally or not, but it's definitely fun to do it that way. Alexander, with your permission, I linked one additional card to an Imgur album in my post. I'm more interested in seeing you look at the Majestic Dawn card. I'll have to see. When I get to you and you're still here, we can talk about it. Because I don't want to like hop around too much, to be honest. But if it's kind of slower, I don't mind doing it. All right, next up, which I totally blanked on. I'm glad you're online. Is J King, as always, with another one of the subs. So yeah, of course, Alexander. I try my best to, try to read comments and stuff like that. I basically try to do what I wish other streamers did. So. I just appreciate you guys being here and hanging out. It's a nice little like de-stressor at the end of the day for me. That's why I always look forward to these grade reviews. Okay, so the Zard from, I think this was from what, the Neo, not the Discovery. Was it Discovery? The Neo Discovery promo set, I believe. It was like that, like one like 3x3 binder page, because it had if you guys saw my last PSA submission, the one that I had, the Eevee, Espeon, Umbreon, and the Ruins, this Zard came in there as well, along with the it was the Pichu and another one. I can never remember what the 9th one was, because it's the Zard, the Pichu, and something else I can't remember. So let me take a look. How do we know when in the stream our cards will be graded? If you tell me what because everyone has like different names and stuff, I can just tell you real quick. I have a list, or have my queue here on my notepad. But yeah, centering on this card I agree, is super good. And someone I think said it in the chat, but this swirl is nice. This card got that double swirl. I got, because I know you sent, maybe by the top there. I know you sent a few pictures, but, so far, this angle looks really good. Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that, chat. Got the swirl right there in the text, and then you got one above his head. Super nice. Yeah, so far, I don't see any notable print lines or scratches or anything like that. Centering looking good. I don't see anything yet. So unfortunately, it's really just on the back that's gonna probably take it back a peg or two. Because of the whitening here on the top. But aside from that, besides the whitening, it looks well centered. So let's do another poll, chat. Let's do another poll. So a new poll should have popped up if you want to weigh in on what you think this Zard promo with the double swirls would get as a PSA grade. Again, it should have popped up like a little blue clipboard in the top left. But yeah, I don't know, because you have your name on TikTok as a smiley face, so I have no idea what your Discord name would be. If you want to let me know what your Discord name is, I don't mind telling you where you're at in the queue. Nugget. Did I message you on did I message you today? Because I messaged everyone that was in the queue for today. If you didn't get a message, then you're not up today. To make it easier in the future, I'm Stevie. I hope. I'll have to. It's just like hard to like quickly shift through. Another way to know too, Nugget, is if you go through the grade review and look at the statuses or the reactions, you'll know. So if you have like a green, if there's someone above you that has a green check mark and you're like right underneath it, if you're right underneath them, then you will be next or pretty close. But yeah, sometimes it takes about, you know, depending on how large the queue is, I normally, you know, have 25 to 30 cards per week that I go through. And then subscribers like Poke and J King have priority, or are there any other subscribers that sub and enter? So yeah, it's pretty much. I apologize if you didn't, if you know, it's just more first come first serve. I try to offer it as a free service at the end of the day. So I apologize if I'm not getting to you probably as fast as you wanted to, but just to kind of keep it fair for everyone. That's kind of where I'm at. All right, so chat, you guys are thinking, but I appreciate your understanding though. I know it's a lot to ask for, but I definitely appreciate it. Okay, so what am I thinking this double swirl Zard would get? I think probably this is probably going to be the main picture I see, because the two angles that you showed, which is great by the way, I didn't see any notable print lines or anything like that based off of these pictures. So I'm primarily just focusing on this front one. The centering looks really good on this front. However, when we flip it over on the back, this is probably where I have the most issues with it. Obviously with the three white spots on the top center of the card. But aside from that, it looks really good. However, I think because of how, I guess like aggressive, I don't know if aggressive's the right term to use, but it's way more noticeable, I should say, than compared to other pieces of whitening. So I'd say with that, I probably, because I think the front is so clean, I think the front is really what's saving you here. I would probably say an 8. Because if the front was any worse or had like scratches, it'd probably drop it down to like even a 7. But I think because of how clean that front of this Zard is, I think that's kind of what's saving you, in my opinion. Yeah, I know, Greg. It's always tough. It's always tough. How is the mic volume, by the way? I got a new headset finally, and honestly, it's very hard to hear myself through the headset, so I feel like I'm yelling. So I just don't want to make sure I'm not blowing anyone's eardrums out. I did a test prior, but I shifted from Astros to a HyperX headset, and I cannot hear myself at all. So I feel like I have to like yell. Where the Astros were nice because they gave you kind of that audio feedback to where you could actually hear yourself a little bit. But I have so much wireless interference in my room that I can't use wireless headphones. I have to use a wired headset, and all the Astros are all on. So what I do on the side is I work in IT, so there's a lot of wireless interference in my house from a bunch of crap that I have in it. So anytime I have headphones, it sounds like I'm in a static storm. But so yeah, I have to always stick with hardwired stuff. Okay, so J King, you're saying can't see it in the picture, but there is a swirl by the head. Super sick. Is it by the? Well, you said by the head. But let's see. Centering looks good. It does maybe. And King, that's what's always so nice about you guys being like in the chat during these. Is that a little dent or ding in the bottom right hand corner there, right where my mouse is? Because it looks like suddenly a little bit lighter, and then it kind of almost like a fold, kind of. I could be wrong, but it almost looks like it though. But if it's not, obviously I'm going to trust the person that actually has the card in their possession. Let's see. Pink, welcome. Hopefully you had a good birthday. Thanks so much for liking the live and the hearts. I appreciate it as always. Hopefully you had a fun birthday. But aside from that, that front looks really good. I know it's always so tough for me with people on the West Coast versus the East Coast. I have a lot of friends that that I grew up with since like elementary school that moved out to the California area, LA and San Diego, and every time they want to play like games online, I have to be up at like 3 a.m. It's like, oh, it just hit midnight over here, and I'm like over here can't even keep my eyes open at 3 a.m. The pain of having homies 3 hours behind you, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Oh, that totally makes sense, Pink, for sure. Well, good luck in the interviews. That's always it's always an exciting time. Anytime you go through an interview process or go after a new job, like it's obviously, you know, it's a little scary, it's a little nerve-wracking at the front, but I'm sure you'll kill it. If anything, just bribe them with some nice Pokemon cards, and then you'll get the job easy. That's what I'd do. Oh, that's good, Alexander. Yeah, because you said that you got that from Japan, right? The one that the seller who decided not to use a top loader for whatever reason, which is crazy to me, but yeah, that's always interesting with like the experience. Like, I guess the experience kind of gives you that confidence to answer questions really like confidently and not feel like, well, hold that thought. I have a statement that I like to give about that, but let me let me look at this Kabutops real quick. So we do have a little bit of scratching here on the surface, but not really bad though. This Kabutops, honestly, based off of the angles that you sent, is looking pretty good. We have a little bit of whitening on the top and the bottom, but besides that, I think you're like looking possibly at like an 8, because there is some like surface scratch, surface wear kinda. But I'd probably say for this one, you're probably looking at an 8. And look at that, I didn't even have to change my grades here. But yeah, for interviews specifically, it's kind of nice to have that experience, like what you're talking about, to then like go in. Because I was on an interview committee interviewing another person for one of our positions. And I like to kind of give like scenario-based questions, because you can really tell really quickly if someone's kind of just like reaching in their grab bag of like buzzwords or terms that make them think that they know what they're talking about. And then if they pick the wrong one, then you can clearly tell that they don't know what they're talking about. But when you have that experience and like you're confident in the answers that you're about to tell, that does wonders from like from an interview board perspective, because then they just know like, oh, like they're not bullshitting, they're actually knowing what they're talking about. They're presenting like really valuable information and valuable experience. Well, that's good. Well, hopefully, like I said, you'll probably kill it. You know, go in there, have that confidence, have some Pokemon cards. And honestly, like, it's kind of like weird to say, but it might even be like, if you, because I honestly did this for my interview. Because like if someone's like, oh, like, what do you like to do like outside of work or whatever? I literally told them like, oh yeah, I like collecting shiny cardboard is how I started it. And then they all laughed, and it just makes you more personable. So who knows? Maybe you can just say, yeah, I collect shiny cardboard and whatever, you know. I know how to use a microscope. I know how to use some card care wax. Get in there. Hey, you got the microscope. I think you're qualified. All right, Kingdra. Centering looks good. Edges look good. Man, your guys' hollows for vintage has been crazy. Oh, and pink. J King had, I think I got rid of it already, but J King had a Charizard that had 2 swirls on it. From the, it was the reverse promo Zard from Neo Discovery. It was looking nice. And this one's also looking really nice. No print lines. A little bit of silvering maybe on that top right side. King, you might be able to confirm that or not. But not too bad. A Flamingo with the edits. That's so funny. Do I need a video editor? Probably. Probably. But to be honest, it's always tough. It's always tough for like cost wise, because I know like I would never expect anyone to do any of that, but I'm very picky too, so I don't know. Maybe someday. Who knows? You can shoot me a message off stream if you want. Let's see. Yeah, the swirl coming out of the snooter there. But aside from that, pretty good. Man, this card's actually really clean. This card is super clean. A little bit off center though, from the left to the right, but not too bad. And oh, Flamingo, thanks so much for following the live. I completely missed that. Thank you so much. So let's see. But yeah, let's you know what? We haven't done this in a little bit. Let's do a little chat poll. Shall we, chat? Let's see what chat thinks about this Kingdra. So poll should have activated on your device in the top left, little blue clipboard if you want to weigh in on what you think this Kingdra would get as a PSA grade. So there is the front of the Kingdra, and then there is the back of the Kingdra. I think most of what I'm probably concerned with, if you need a little bit of assistance on voting, would probably be the centering. But aside from that, maybe a little bit of surface issues in the back, but not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see. So we got 1 vote for 9. We got a vote for an 8. All right. So looking like an 8. So let's put that up there. All right, so what am I thinking this Kingdra would get? Let's take a gander. So again, the front is practically flawless. I think the only thing I could think of is maybe some silvering on that top right corner, but I don't really know. Foil is really good on the front. The back is off center from the left to the right. We also do see some surface. We see a little white dot in the bottom right corner-ish, as well as some scratches here on the surface as well. So I think with those two, I would imagine probably would warrant the 8 in my opinion as well. But I always loved Kingdra. Kingdra was such a cool card. So Mewtwo EX, is this the Hollow Shift? Or is it always like this? Let me take a look. I'm taking a look, chat. Hold on. So Mewtwo. Is it, to me, that looks like a Hollow Shift, no? Let's take a look. Mewtwo EX. Oh, I guess it is always like that. Huh. And I think this is the like the big chase from Ruby and Sapphire too, right? If I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure. But so far, man, you guys are freaks when it comes to taking good care of your stuff. It's crazy. Like this holofoil is super nice. Seems super well centered. Maybe let me. My cat's laying on my ruler. Rip. The top maybe looks a little bit thicker, but I don't think that's true. Now that I'm looking at it, I think it's pretty well centered. There's no print lines. Oh no, the back's not so great. Jake King, you can't be telling me that. Oh no, Jake King, no. Man. Do have a little bit of a little ding there, huh? On that right side. A little bit of a ding. And then honestly, it looks a little bit thicker on this right side than it does on the left as well. In addition, we have a lot of like some dirt splatter, kind of like these little black dots on the back. Do have a little bit of whitening on the corners and the edges. Man, this is probably like the best example of a gray binder card, in my honest opinion. It looks super nice on the front, but then the back is really where it's kind of struggling. I would say with like some of the the corner issues we got going on here in the top left, bottom left, this right side especially, and the dirt on there. But the front looks so good. I'd probably still like, my gut wants to say, if there's like more problems, my gut wants to say a 5, honestly, for this this Mewtwo EX. But if it's not as bad, or like if my gut is wrong, then I'd probably say a 6. But based off of what because that's where my gut is, King, to be honest, is if those corners are as bad, like all 4, plus this pretty significant ding here on that right side, I'd probably lean more on the safer side of 5, in my honest opinion. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but and it almost looks like we have a little bit of corner issues on this one as well, on this Deoxys. The centering looks pretty good. There are a little bit of scratches here on this like blue leg scythe part. But we do have a pretty noticeable corner bend on that bottom right side. So hopefully, yeah, the back is a little worn too, which is obviously going to bring it down a little bit. Sleeping, welcome. But yeah, man, yeah, you literally have like the definition of great binder cards. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, I would think for this one specifically, yeah, they're more frayed. Yeah, so normally with frayed edges, I normally like to stick with like a 5 for for edges that are actually like fraying, or that are like softer to the touch. So I'd probably say a 5 for this one, in my honest opinion, for this Deoxys. But still a nice looking card though. Still a nice looking card. That's what I'm saying. Sleeping pretty, but ouch. That is what I'm saying. All right. So while I'm queuing up the next one, I'll let you guys look at this real quick. If you guys saw this this report for, it's like a new Evolutions release, which is really interesting. So apparently there's gonna have like a big box of stuff. I honestly saw this article before I jumped on the live, so that'll be really interesting to see how this turns out. People are saying, like, even in like the comments down here, like, oh, the Moonbryon 2. Honestly, like the Evolving Skies hype will not happen again. COVID was like a main reason why. That's what I'm saying, Greg. I think people are forgetting like why Evolving Skies was such a big set was because of the supply. You know, it was made like right around COVID. And, you know, those manufacturing issues are just not there anymore, like the major ones. Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, that too. It has a lot of really good, like, I think I remember us looking at, I forgot when I did. We looked at the odds of pulling like the Moonbryon, for example, because of how like saturated the pool is. And it's crazy. It's insane. Okay, so who is next? We have Pink is up next. I don't know if you're still in here, but as long as supply, that's what I'm, yeah, that's what's great about it now, you know, like, because it's really interesting, because, you know, people are thinking of like they're now looking back at like One Piece or Lorcana. People are like, oh, like, why is my stuff tanking? It's like, well, there are these big IPs that are now finally starting to like not care about printing stuff into the like ground, essentially. Well, not like in the ground, like because there is like that delicate balance, but like, for example, I think One Piece just rewaved a bunch of their old like their original sets, like the first set release. I think they just reprinted, and you saw like prices going down. Lorcana is also doing the same thing. So there's definitely that degree of FOMO for sure, but especially around Evolving Skies. But again, with Pokemon having manufacturing now in the States, and, you know, there is that level of being able to kind of print on demand. But I think Pokemon does a little bit, like, now does a little bit better. Because you saw like the Charizard UPC that people thought was going to go to the moon because it had the Zards. It was ultra premium collection, and then just like didn't go up anymore. And then they like tanked because a bunch of people had bought it and sat on it, and then you just saw a bunch of stuff, just like a bunch of product just chilling there. That's all good, Chris. Congrats on the win, by the way. I'm glad I'm so happy that I like triple checked to see if you had any other entries, because if I didn't see the Discord entry, I probably would have re-rolled. But congrats again. I'm super stoked. I'm super stoked for you and J King to get your stuff. Alright, so Pink is up next. So we have two modern stuff. Some modern, like, major hits talking about Evolving Skies. We have the Leafeon. So if you guys are unaware of like how to properly like measure centering for the full arts, I primarily just stick with these white chunks here on the left and the right. That's how I normally do it. And as well as like the bottom, if it's not like too raised from the left and the right. I know, Chris, it's crazy. And this card is actually in really good shape. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think this one might be a potential 10. Because that centering, like the centering here on the left and the right is really good. And I see no whitened corners. The centering looks really good. I'd probably submit this if it were me. That's because I'd imagine these little like white specks can probably just be wiped off. So that's a good 10 contender. Same thing here. The centering here on the left and the right of this Glaceon VMAX. The left and the right look really good. The bottom looks like well proportioned. It does look a little bit thicker on the right than the left, but I think it's within. I would probably send both of those in, to be honest. I'm not even kidding. The Leafeon and the Glaceon, I'd probably submit both. But yeah, Chris, I'm very, very fortunate to have almost hit 8K. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I gotta show appreciation where it is. Like, you guys are awesome for, you know, sticking with me this long, and kind of like nerding out, because again, like I just feel, because I've just been like watching so many like TikTok streams, and I had like almost like a realization where like TikTok is starting to become almost like a combination between like QVC and like street performers, and it's just nice to like give you guys a space to kind of like offer just like additional insight on like grading and just like kind of taking collecting to a different level, without having to charge you guys anything, because there's obviously like ways that, you know, that you can kind of get like an elevated experience like through subscriptions like I offer and whatever, but that's not like the main focus of my content. And because I'm like a really big like proponent of just kind of like offering like just kind of showing you guys like what I do and just kind of talking with you guys more on like a personal level. And then if you like want more of an experience, then there's options for that. But I don't know, I kind of like to showcase what I like to do for free, and then if you guys want to, you know, hang out and want to know more or want to go more like deep dive, then there's options for that. So I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out. It really means a lot. That's fingers crossed, Chris. I'll have to think about what if that even, I would never imagine being even close to 10K, but I gotta think of like, maybe I might show off like my actual personal collection when we hit 10K. Maybe that might be, because I literally have it in a gun case of my like personal collection with like dehumidifier stuff in there, or not dehumidifier, like the silica gel packets to keep it humidity controlled. Like maybe that's what I might do for 10K. I might just show off my personal collection one day that like never sees the light of day. But I appreciate that, Aaron. Thank you. All right, so next up we have AJ. AJ was also the won the grade review giveaway. AJ won the PSA 8 off-center Jigglypuff. The man who is passionate about Lickitung. So let's look at his Groudon. Warlock, welcome. Hopefully all is well. Nice to see you again. Let's take a gander. So again, for you guys know me, for modern, I kind of look like if it's 10 or bust. And I think right off the rip, like we do see a little ding here towards that left center, or that left edge rather, in the top left corner. So I think because of that, I don't think it would get the 10. But that's about it for that one. Yeah, because I just think that one ding alone is not going to give it the 10. What were all the giveaways? I only remember the PSA 8 in the mystery box. The other one was for the shirt for the survey on what you guys want to see from future videos. Like I kind of talked about some ideas that I had. If you guys wanted to kind of weigh in on what you wanted to see, you guys, like based off of the people who had submitted feedback, like you guys love, and I actually like doing it a lot, is doing like the actual cleaning streams and stuff, like cleaning cards, kind of like doing PSA submission returns, or just doing like processing PSA orders. You guys seem to really like that, so I also just bought a scanner that hopefully should be in tomorrow, to where because I'm actually doing a test stream tomorrow over on YouTube, where I have a scanner I'm going to process raw cards with, and that's gonna make things so much easier. So it'd be cool to like have a card scanned, show it on stream, do like essentially like a live grade review to see whether or not it's worth selling raw or kind of putting it in a bulk bin. Another idea I've been having is like if I get enough cards to like give away to the community, you know, or give away like rarer ones, like if you subscribe, stuff like that. So super excited to kind of go through that, and you guys can kind of see a little bit more behind the scenes on how I kind of run my business now, more on like an optimized level. So super stoked for that. UV, let's take a gander. I hope that is a little white speck that could just be wiped off. I'm hoping, because that would be unfortunate if you cannot. But aside from that, it looks a little bit thicker on the bottom than it does the top. But yeah, I think if that is true, if it's off-centered a little bit from the bottom to the top, you're probably not going to get the 10. In addition, if you can't get rid of this, but it looks like you can. So I'd probably measure, if it were me, I'd measure the bottom, and if it's within that the 60-40 to 50-50 ratio threshold, then you should be good based off of PSA's requirements. But yeah, I've been really not being good at marking when I'm done reviewing a card on Discord. I really gotta get better at that. I have been really liking the ability to do reactions, though, to kind of keep you guys informed on where I'm at in the process. But yeah, as I load, so next up is Maiden. I don't know if Maiden's in the chat, because everyone has different names from their Discord, but I'm about to review her submission here soon. So that was... You guys are like... I think that's like the one Pokemon that I see during grade review the most for you guys is Mew. You guys love Mew. And the Korokoro is no exception. But yeah, Chris, I'm super stoked to see how you like the mystery box. Because I've been really thinking I'm probably gonna just start shifting gears to do mystery boxes as giveaways more than selling. Because man, mystery boxes are very difficult to sell. And it's cool too, Chris, because you'll get to see the packs that I've made. Like I even bought like empty booster packs. I use like a chip, like it's like a chip bag resealer that I was able to like seal the bags and stuff, or seal the packs. It comes with a music album that I made, which is really crazy. You never think of a of a mystery box having an album in it. I think I have them on for 50. So it comes with 3 packs, 3 modern packs, comes with a music album, comes with some stickers. Comes with a custom pack that I've made that has a guaranteed WotC Hollow Light Player Better. And it comes with an Eve card. But I honestly just been enjoying giving them away, to be honest. It's a fun little like giveaway prize. It has like the packs have like 151 in it, Obsidian Flames, and Paldean Evolved, I think. Okay, so Korokoro Mew for Maiden. I have a website on my Squarespace, so just galaxiagamingtcg.com, and in the shop. I think you get 5% off if you use I have a TikTok code. I'll have to remember, but yeah, and hopefully with that scanner I was talking about, I'm going to start uploading more pictures now that in-person shows are starting to die down for me a little bit. That scanner is going to allow me to scan some like good quality pictures and upload them to my website for sale and stuff. So looking forward to that for sure. So Korokoro Mew, looking a little off center from the left to the right, I'm not going to lie to you. But aside from that, it's looking really good. Man, this card is in that goes there. I was like, that is not a Japanese back. But the back looking pretty good, with the exception of some whitening in the top right. We have some right there, have a little bit of something there on that left side. A little off center again too on this left side, the left from the right. I'd say just with like the little bit of whitening on the top right corner and it being a little off center. Yeah, because the centering is not the greatest on the front and the back, and just a little bit of whitening there. I'd probably I'd say with the centering plus the whitening plus some scratches and stuff on the surface, I'd probably say a 7 would be my guess for this CoroCoro Mew. But I absolutely love this Mew. It's probably my favorite one for sure. I feel like people would love mystery boxes giveaways. That's what I think too, Chris. That's what I think too. Because it was something I really wanted to try to solve, like a problem that I really wanted to solve. Like, even if you guys follow like PokeRev, he just made his like 5th run of grab bags, and he had to make a video on like a controversy explanation video because he pulled like one of his rarest packs like on streams, like, oh, like here I am like opening up my product just to kind of give you a sample and a taste, and then like people were like giving him backlash because he had to increase his prices, stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm probably just, again, I kind of agree with you. I might just give them away as giveaways, more so just to kind of like incentivize, maybe even just like making mystery boxes, but having them tied in with some of like the higher end ones, like probably have them tied in with subscriptions. So like if you subscribe or whatever, like subscribers get like a monthly giveaway entry to a mystery box or something. That honestly might be the better play. But anyway, Mew VMAX from Fusion Strike. Centering looks good. That's the thing, like even or that or people see it, and I honestly completely agree. Is that it's a unique way to offload bulk at an inflated price, because your ceiling is so high that your average price, like your average listed price, has to go so much higher. Because honestly, like based off of the math that I did, I'm selling like my mystery boxes, just to put it in perspective, with like based off of all the cards that are in TCG Player and the condition that they're in their market price, the price that I'm listing at, all like as a whole, I'm actually at a loss. So every time I sell one, I'm losing money compared to what I invested into the overall product, because they're just so hard to sell. Because of that, it's everyone has that ingrained in their head, which is totally fair. Like that's why people, like when they go to Walgreens or whatever and see those like mystery boxes, I forgot what that one manufacturer is. They're like notoriously bad. I would probably, if this is a scuff here on the top left, I wouldn't submit this, but if it's not, I would submit this. This looks like a pretty good 10 contender. That Mew VMAX. Oh, another one. This one, not so much. It does look like it's a little bit thicker on this right side than the left, as well as the bottom. So you can kind of see, like, when I was talking about before, I forgot, it was with the Leafeon and the Glaceon. Because there's obviously no top border to really gauge with. But you can kind of see, like, when you look at the left to the bottom, you can almost see, you can tell that that bottom is a little lifted up. So it is a little bit off center, and the most obvious one's probably this little white dot on the right side of the card. So probably wouldn't grade this one. I don't think it would get the 10, unfortunately, but still obviously a near mint. All right, so next up is Dusty, the Dusty Man, with the evolutions. Holy, the evolution Zard. Looking a little beat. Little beat, little rough. All right, let's take a gander. Let us take a gander. Man, this card is beat, guys. By Dusty. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's dirt all over this card. There's frayed edges, scratches. There's a bend. Like, just the bend alone puts it in, like, at least a 4, if not a 3. I'd say if there is any more significant bending, I'd probably say, I'm Lux in Discord. If you didn't go over it yet, Work's been busier than normal. That's all good. Let me see. Let me see. Did I message you today that that I was gonna review your cards? Because if I didn't, unfortunately, they probably won't be today anyway. Yeah, if you want, Chris. That'd be nice. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so normally how I do it is if you submit your cards in the Discord for review, I'll message you the day of that your cards will be reviewed. So if you didn't get a direct message from me on Discord today, unfortunately it won't be today. But if you want to kind of check where you're at in the queue, if you go into the grade review section and you kind of just like gauge like, you know, if there's a post that's directly above you that has the blue or the gray check mark and the green check mark, then if it's right underneath, then you'll be pretty much next for the next week. Yes, Blake, every Wednesday. I've been doing this consistently. This is the 23rd episode. I've done it for 23 weeks straight, which is crazy to say out loud because that's a lot of time. But yeah, I've done it every Wednesday. So, but yeah, I would say this card probably would get the 3, if not a 2. I'd probably say 3 though. Yeah, Blake, that's what I would do. Just check on Wednesdays. I normally try to reach out to people between 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern is the cutoff. Before I start making my queue. And then I try to reach out to people anywhere between 10 to 2. Because it just all depends on whether or not I'm super busy at work that day. But yeah. And you'll have to check the Discord more, Blake. We had some giveaways that we just did. Hopefully, I mean, Chris was saying that we're almost at 8K. So I've been trying to do a giveaway for every 1,000 followers on TikTok. I've been doing a giveaway. I'm almost at 500 on YouTube, which is crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, Lewis, right? I'm trying to, I've kind of talked about it ad nauseum at this point. But I just kind of see, what I wish people did on TikTok, or, streamers and whatever. And a lot of it now is just kind of turning into, QVC or, street performers. I'm not saying everyone, but, most people, at least in my feed, are just, man, they're just trying to shove stuff down your throat constantly, and it's just nice to just have a stream on this platform that's just chill, someone that actually cares about your time, because at the end of the day, you're choosing to stay here and choosing to hang out with me. So I personally believe that it's my responsibility to not only show that appreciation, but get you as involved as I possibly can. And obviously, at this time I'm able to do that based off of just capacity. So I'm trying to do it as long as I possibly can. So, but yeah, I found all my Pokemon cards and I've gotten back into it. That's awesome, Blake. Got to pick and choose what I want to get reviewed. You can send them all in, Blake, to be honest. Well, except for commons and uncommons and stuff, because in the rules I consider that bulk for the most part. But you're more than welcome to submit it just will take longer. You know what I mean? So if you submit 20 cards, the max per week per person is 5. So if you for example, I normally review up to 25 to 30 cards per week per stream. And so if you submitted 30 cards, it would basically just be the Blake show. You know what I mean? So if you can more than welcome send in a bunch. But I would just per stream I would look at only 5. Starting from the top down in the order that you've submitted them in. Would I be able to send non-holo vintage cards? It just depends. Probably not too many. Cause I don't know. You just gotta kind of see it, just to be totally transparent. Not a lot of people are really interested in looking at Oddishes or Diglets or Horsies. You know what I mean? So it kind of I can make exceptions here and there, but if that's just like all your submission is, I probably won't do most of it. But if it's like sprinkled here and there, like if you do like a Pikachu or an Eevee from Jungle, or I don't know, that's kind of like, you just kind of have it, like you have to kind of see it from my perspective. Like if I'm just showing like common, uncommon stuff like from WotC era, like most of it's kind of like a snoozer from a streaming perspective. It would veer, but to be honest, I just don't have the time. Honestly, like I've definitely have thought about it. That's why I try to post the VODs, but even if I can't even like keep up with the VODs lately. That's why I'm trying to test YouTube streaming tomorrow. Because like if I can stream on YouTube and the VODs instantly get uploaded, that would be huge. That would be a huge time saver for me. Huge time saver. But yeah, for me, like I'd have to go back through and watch like my stream to like remember what I grade. I mean, granted, like I could write it down, but it's just like more little work that I like. If I forget one, it's just gonna be a bad time. Yeah, nah, Twitch is good, but like I just been really not digging like the amount of ads that just get shoved down your throat. Like, I don't know if it's just me personally, but man, it has just been like crazy amount of ads. And plus, like, again, like, my big thing is, like, to be able to, like, instantly upload the VOD once the stream is done. And the discoverability factor is really big for me, too. Because I only have, like, less than 500 subs on YouTube. So, like, having that discoverability versus Twitch, like, where Twitch is, like, you get buried. And the discoverability on Twitch is really hard. Alright. Blood Moon. Ursaluna EX, submitted by Stevie. Sorry, Stevie, if you're in here. Classic Galaxia Gaming, yapping again. But I like the chill conversations. Don't get me wrong. I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate all the feedback too. I definitely take feedback to heart for sure. But yeah. So thank you for being patient. So. I think based off of the front of this, the front looks a little bit thicker, this left side, than the right. Again, per the law of the land, my cat is laying on my ruler, so I unfortunately cannot disturb her. So I would say probably check the measurements on this side from the left to the right. But aside from that, it looks really good. And the back center looks really good. Yeah, I would say if you can measure this left side to the right and it's within that 60-40, 50-50, you got a 10 for sure. Because really the big giveaway is that I don't see any whitening on the corners or the edges, which is huge for modern. And I don't see that. It's just really the centering on the left. Let's see. Next up is Bubble Mew. Centering looks really good on the front. And centering looks really good on the... Yeah, this one's probably a good potential 10 contender for sure. This Japanese Bubble Mew. And then the Gardevoir Sylveon Tag Team. Ooh, this is a really nice card. And one really fun thing that we learned in my last PSA submission is that I personally thought that this black bar had a significant impact in the centering, but it actually does not. Believe it or not, because I had 2 or 3 cards from the Sun and Moon era that had this black like inside border that were like almost pressed up, just like this one is. All came back as 10s, so it's not as bad as I thought it was. So it looks like it just considers the silvering or the silver borders. Man, Poke, if you're in here, I got that Tennessee tea kicking in. That's why I can't talk right now. Let's see. Let's flip it on over. The back might be within the threshold. But that left side looking maybe a little bit thicker on the right, and that little white speck there, right where my mouse is. I'm not gonna jiggle my mouse like crazy. But that's where it is. Hey AJ, how's it going? I just actually looked at yours. And crap, what was my assessment? So I think the Groudon would, so basically with modern, I normally basically say like 10 or bust. The Groudon I think had like a ding on the front left's edge that I don't think would make it get the 10. And then I think with the Mew V, I think if you measure the bottom to the top on the front, if it's within the 60-40, 50-50 ratio, that probably had the best shot at the 10, based off of the two that I saw. But yeah, I don't think the Groudon would get the 10, but I would think that the Mew V would if the bottom to the top is within that threshold. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm super stoked. We're just talking about giveaways and stuff. I'm super stoked for you to get your PSA 8 Jigglypuff, which I can't remember if I. Yes, I was like, I can't remember if I shipped it out or not. My room is an absolute whirlwind, and you actually get to see how much of a whirlwind it is tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a, so if you guys saw my stream announcements, I normally stream only Mondays and Wednesdays, but I'm actually streaming again tomorrow over on YouTube as a test stream. So you guys can actually see my face. I have my webcam all ready to go, and you can see how, not like disgusting, but like unorganized my room is currently. Because I literally, all I'm waiting for is my scanner to scan raw cards to sell. And aside from that, like, I have literally cards everywhere. It is insane. And you guys get to see my wall, my card wall. I've showed it in the Discord a few times, but if you've never seen it, it's one of my my loves, like in terms of collections, because it's all cards that I grew up with. I was very fortunate. I don't know. I couldn't tell you how I never got rid of my childhood collection, but somehow I was able to keep every single one, and yeah, super stoked. You guys get to see that tomorrow. All right, next up is EQ. First time posting. Hope these pictures are okay. Well, they are great. They are good. So got a little bit of modern. We're gonna see if it would get the 10. Probably won't because of this, what appears to be some dings on the top. Let me kind of zoom in here a little bit. But hey, did you just get done with your stream? Because I think you were saying that you were streaming tonight too, but us streamers not being able to watch each other have a little bit of like edge wear on that top part. But aside from that, it looks well centered. Man, look at these angles. You guys are like upgrading like how you take pictures. It's like making my job like so much easier. Let's see. Oh no. Oh no, chat. This is, well, does anyone want to know what I would call this card? Does anyone know what I would categorize this card if you've been here long enough? What would I consider this card, chat? Drum roll, please. Austin, the binder card. This is an absolute great binder card that would never see the light of day on the back ever again. This is going to be Long Live the King. Scar shoving the back of this card into the... What the hell were those animals? I am complete, like Steve Irwin is rolling around because I don't know what was it, an antelope? Or whatever those were? I'm like completely fumbling what the name of that animal was that Simba's dad fell in. Anyway, just straight buffalo. Like there's like water buffalo. That's what they were. My God, I don't know why that took me so long to know what a damn water buffalo was. But yeah, this would never see the light of day again. This back. We definitely have some pretty significant whitening on the back. We have some dents and dings. Looks like a cat probably chewed on it at some point. I know, Poke. Maybe I need more. Maybe I need more to kind of correct. That's all good, AJ. Happens to the best of us. The wildebeest. I thought it was a... My god. I don't know. Some animal on 4 legs is what the damn dad got pushed into by Scar. Alright? Whatever that was. Whatever those 4-legged animals were, that's where this thing is going. Alright. This is an Animal Planet, alright? This is grade review. This is not Animal Planet. I'm not part of the Irwin family. I don't know my African animals. Chris, at this point, I don't even know what we're talking about. Alright, maybe I'll have to refill here in a second. But yeah, this definitely got chewed by a cat for sure. You know what? While I fill up on some tea, I'm gonna let you guys vote real quick. So Chris, you are temporarily in charge of the stream. Don't let me down. Here's the front of the Reshiram, and here is the back of the Reshiram. I am going to let you guys vote. A little blue clipboard should have just popped up on the top left-hand corner of your device if you want to weigh in on what you think this Reshiram and Zekrom GX tag team would get. And while you guys are voting, man, that back. Ugh. That back is something. I'm going to just get a drink real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. It looks like you guys are well behaved. So let's take a look. Chris is saying 6 or 7. I think Aaron is looking at 3 or lower. Yeah, this card's beat up. We literally have a vote for every category. So we have one for 6 or 7, we have one for 5 or 4, and we have one for 3 or lower. What are we doing, chat? There we go. I'm ending it before it. Alright, so we have 5 or 4 is the de facto vote here. Which, you guys, like, in the Discord, you guys absolutely love N. N is, like, the Discord's, like, crush right now. Like, you guys are, like, all about N. But anyway, let's take a gander at the Reshiram Zekrom GX tag team, shall we? Top, a little bit frayed. Centering looks good. Actually, the centering... Now that I'm kind of like I have the little bit bigger magnifying glass, it almost looks like the left is a little bit thicker than the right. But not by too much. It's really just that fold on the top is really what's kind of taking it back. But the cat chew toy, not looking too good, unfortunately. I mean, all 4 corners, all 4 edges are frayed. We have some dents. So dents alone we're already kind of looking at like a 5 or a 4 anyway. So the big question is, like, is it bad enough to be, like, damaged? You can say that let's just say I poured myself some nice Southern hospitality of some Tennessee tea. Let's just say it was a hot day. I'm just on the porch chilling on my rocking chair. watching the weeping willows sway into the breeze. Because this flower is wilting. If anyone knows what that's from, I will give you bonus points. If anyone knows where that quote's from, I'll give you bonus points. Yeah, I would say that this probably, I'm right there with you, Alexander, to be honest. I think if there was a crease, I'd probably say this is an easy 3. But since I'm not seeing any creases and the front is pretty in good shape with the exception of the top of fringe, I'd probably say a 4 would be my guess. But I also agree. I would, because for my kind of like rule of thumb is if I think a card would get a PSA 4, I would say it's heavy play. And then if I say a PSA 5, I think it would be mod play. And then PSA 6 is light play. That's kind of how. Yeah, really the only thing, Chris, with like the front, unless it can be fixed, is just like this top part and a little bit off center. But I mean, you might be right. I really have no idea. But that's kind of like the bummer of a card like this. And plus, too, like where the where these impacts are. Yes, Austin. Congratulations. You win 10,000 bonus points. Congratulations. I'll give you 10,000 more if you know what character in King of the Hill said that. This flower is wilting. There you go, Bobby. There you go. You get 20,000 bonus points. Good job, Austin. But I think like because of how severe the dings or the impacts are on the back, it almost kind of looks like too here. You have one right there where like in the Zekrom's like hair, I guess, as well as here. So I think those two will also kind of impact the score. And we didn't even really need to look at the other angles, but oh, Greg, yeah, I think I commented on your when Bobby dresses up in his fancy Louisiana outfit. I'm pretty sure I messaged you out of respect for Bobby Hill. I'm actually looking to, because I'm going to a Renaissance festival in August, and I'm gonna dress up as when Bobby dresses when he goes to like the professional clown school. I'm gonna dress up as the spry wonder dog. That's gonna be my my Renaissance outfit. Because I if you guys remember, I am an absolute huge fan of like Renaissance fairs and like Tartuffe. Yes. Let's see, Tartuffe the spry wonder dog. I'll show you guys what I'm gonna be. The spry wonder dog. Yes, here we go. We got the deep cuts, chat. This is who I'm going to be for the Renaissance Fair this August. Is Bobby Hill, Tartuffe the spry wonder dog. That's who I'm planning on being. They're just jumping around like a freak. Just drinking some mead, watching some jousting. I'll probably throw some tomatoes at some people. Get yelled at because I can't hit the guy. But that's I'm just gonna run around like this. But anyway. On to see, this is what happens, guys. We just like kind of get off on a tangent, we're just chilling. Hopefully you guys are having a good night, because I'm chilling. This is fun. Just like kind of chilling, shooting the shit a little bit. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. I appreciate you guys staying with me as long as you have. Is King of the Hill that show with a dad and it and has a wife and son, but it's an adult cartoon? Yes. Yes. It is. That's probably one of my, if I had to like rate like my top 10 favorite like cartoons, King of the Hill, the older ones before Peggy. I think like where, like this is kind of like some like King of the Hill, like I guess lore, but when she fell out of the airplane, the episode after that, I feel like it kind of like wasn't the same. But the before then, those were like gold. I love King of the Hill. I quote it all the time. Are those clouds? All right. Yes, Alexander, I'm actually good timing. I think you were the first one in here. Now look at you. Patience. From the original Grademaster card centering tool. This one looks pretty nice. Honestly. This centering tool. Mine, I have to get a new one. Mine's like soaked in because like what happened was I dropped some distilled water on the centering tool with the paper still attached to it, and like the paper like fused with the like with the measuring part. So that's why you always see that chunk of white paper on my measuring tool. Oh, I could quote King of the Hill all day. I love King of the Hill. Pocket Sand. All right. Glaceon GX. Look at that. I even get a centering tool to measure, chat. I don't even have to put the ruler up. But man, that card looks amazing. Let's see, did you... oh, you also have... I see your Imgur link. Let me check that out after. Let's see. It honestly, like, from the front looks really good. And then let me zoom out it a little bit so you guys can see the top and the bottom. And the top and the bottom honestly look really good. I think you got a pretty good 10 contender, my friend. If I've ever seen one. I think this is a good 10 contender, for sure. And then let me just check. Oh, wow. I have never seen this Glaceon before, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. This looks really nice. Hold on, I'm just getting it preloaded here, chat. Yeah, I have never seen this Glaceon before. Yeah, this looks super cool. It almost kind of gives me like, I don't know what kind of vibe. It almost kind of gives me like Gen 2 vibes a little bit. But I can't put my finger on it. I think it's kind of like that water. I mean, maybe that's what it is. It kind of like is like an homage almost to like Ken Sugimori. Like that watercolor art style. The swirl. Where's the swirl? Don't tempt me now. Where is it? Aaron, where is it? 'Cause I don't see it. I do, however, see by the tail. Aha! Ah, there it is. That's very nice. Oh, it's a fart swirl. You got a fart swirl. You don't get those every day, chat. You do not get a fart swirl every day. That is the niche within the niche. Is the fart swirl. So the very rare, highly sought after fart swirl. And as I'm talking about it, Trev, thank you so much for the hearts. Welcome. Welcome in. Okay. I apologize if I've ruined this card for you now, Alexander. Yeah, you're just gonna see this Glaceon and think, man, I really like this card up until this silly streamer on the internet said that my Glaceon's farting out a swirl. So I apologize in advance for ruining the allure of this. I still personally love it. I'm always a sucker for swirls. And the artwork looks amazing. I like the red aura around the ears and stuff too. All right, anyway, what do we say, chat? Stop yapping and start grading. All right, so a little bit thicker on the left than it is on the right. Corner's looking pretty good. I do see maybe a small scratch up here, but like above the ear. But I could be wrong. You might be able to confirm that, Alexander. Right there. I'm just gonna leave my mouse there for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. But right above my mouse, almost looks like a small scratch, but I'm not too sure. But you also have another angle, so yeah, right here. It shows up a little bit better. So right here, slightly above the ear. But not too bad. It looks very slight. And then on the back looks good. Maybe a little off center, but it could be just the lighting too, from the right to the left. But the corners are in really good condition. People like it's like making prettier, hard to find. Some could potentially add value. Yeah, so so Chris, like swirls are just like a niche, like kind of like a niche, like collecting sub goal, like a subcategory goal, if you will. Me personally, I always like, when a swirl has like different positions and stuff like that is always really cool. Like this Glaceon, like I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but again, like it's a little fart swirl. It's kind of just adds to the card. I don't know. It's kind of cool. The Galaxy Swirl, yes. I'm hoping it gets a 9 first edition. This thing is my favorite piece. Yeah, the fact that it's still, like that's another thing too. Like you don't see for Japanese that they don't do the first edition stamps, and it's different from what it was in the States for first edition. And I can't remember when they stopped. I don't know if they stopped after Diamond and Pearl for the first edition. I honestly can't remember, or if they stopped after Black and White. But yeah, this is some of the last first edition stamps that we've ever seen as we kind of moved out of the WotC era. So it's always kind of cool to see that. Or not even the WotC era, because Aquapolis, Skyridge, and Expedition didn't do first ed stamps. But yeah, I'd probably say like your centering is pretty good. I'd say I'd probably just say double check this on the left to the right. See what's within that 60-40, 50-50 ratio. And just that little scratch up there, but I mean, I'm hoping for your sake it gets the 9. It might. I wouldn't be surprised if it got an 8 though. I'm just going to be honest with you, because if that centering is off a little bit and that scratch up there. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that you get the 9 for sure. So, but yeah, thank you for being patient with me, Alexander, and letting me look at that Glaceon, the 2 Glaceons. I'm actually glad that you mentioned it for the Imgur link, because I personally have never seen this one. It looks really nice. All right, so we have another classic, chat. Will the Moonbryon get the 10? The question that has been asked many a times in this grade review. So will this Moon Kitty... Sounds good, Chris. Thank you so much for staying around as long as you have, and congrats again for winning the giveaway. Okay, you gotta stay for this? Alright, I like that. Alright, so the Moon Kitty. Will it get the PSA 10 or not? So again, just for if they're watching the VOD, the big thing that we're looking for is the centering, right? This white chunk on the left and the white chunk on the right. And so far, the centering on that is really good. And I also don't see anything from what I can tell from the picture. The only thing that you might want to triple check, I don't even know if you guys will even be able to see this on stream. I'll even try to zoom in a little bit more just to kind of better articulate what I'm actually talking about. And I'm going like super deep. Is right here. So I'm kind of highlighting over with my mouse. But this right there, I don't know if that's a scratch or just part of the artwork or part of the texture or what, but that to me looks like something that you should probably check. But if it's not, then just my imagination playing tricks on me, and I hope for your sake that it is. So let's take a flip over. The centering on this looks good, and then the big thing I always look for modern is if there's any noticeable white in corners. But I do not see any. So I think that this is probably a good contender at the 10. As long as this isn't anything, what I was kind of highlighting on the front. As long as that's not anything, like not a scratch or something like that, Yeah, the bottom left is a little bit dark, Aaron, I'm not gonna lie to you. But, like, there's nothing like... There's not, like, a major piece of white that's, like, really standing out. So I'm not, like... I kind of have to take it how the picture was given. So, with what I can see, it looks to be good. But... Alright, next up, we have Sauvir. I think Sauvir was in here before, but if you are here, time to rise. We are here for the Zard, the fiery lizard. Everyone's favorite fire lizard, and boy howdy does this card look to be in great shape. The centering looking dandy. Corners looking crispy. Edges, dare I say, looking immaculate. The hollow. Again, I'm not trying to glaze too much here, but this card is looking really good. Nothing wrong with the text. Fingers crossed, chat. We flip it over and it is equally as good. Sounds good, Chris. Thank you so much for staying as long as you have. I really appreciate it. And I'll let you know when I ship that out. I'll shoot you a DM. I'm not going to email you ever again. I would have felt so bad if I had to reselect. Yeah, take care, man. Let's see. So the only thing that I see, we do have a little whitening on that. Sorry, let me see if I can. Because this is really important. This card is in really good shape. Sorry, you guys can't see what I'm looking at. Let's do this. There we go. So yeah, right here we have possibly a little bit of whitening there in the top left. Maybe, but it might be the binder that you're taking the picture on. Maybe one right where the, like, literally right where the tip of my mouse is. There might be some right there. Some white specks I'm hoping could just be wiped off. The right corner is glare. Okay, so far from what I can tell is probably that top left corner. But the centering, I will say, looks really good. Just dust. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just little dusty boys. Bottom left, bottom right corners look really good. But man, this card is in super good shape, dude. You really need to pat yourself on the back, or pat whoever you bought this from on the back, because this card is in really good shape. I'd probably say, you know, unless there's something we're not seeing from the holo specifically, the front is like pristine based off of the picture that you're sharing with us today. And maybe that little bit of whitening on that top left, but I'd probably say that this was, man, this probably could be a 9 for sure. I really think so. Like, I'm really trying my hardest to like look and see if there's anything on the holo or anything like that, but the only thing I really see wrong with it in the centering, it looks to be good, is just like, and if all this like little white specks are just dust, it's just that top left hand corner. But I still think this, I would submit it for sure, even if it got an 8, like depending on what you bought it at. Like, I would say 8 or above is great, but I think it'd probably get a 9. But if you do submit that, which I hope you do, I hope you let us know what you get, because that'd be sick to know. Yeah, the surface is nuts, Aaron, right? That's what I'm saying. It literally looked like he like bought it from a rip and ship and just got absolutely juiced and just got an insane pull. It literally is packed fresh. Gryo, what's going on? The Pokemon lover falling from heaven. Welcome back. But yeah, if you submit that, definitely let me know what you get back. I'd be super interested to see. All right. Next up, we have Porter with the 5-banger. We got some Greninja. We got a nice little variety here. Got a Dragonite V, Jesse and James, probably my favorite, which I marked on the Discord. That's looking nice and spicy. And then you had a replacement because you said you sold your cards. Goofy, goofy, goofy. Let's see. Let me see if I can find them. And it was just this one, I believe. Because I think, remind me, it was just the 2, or not the 2, the 4, right, Austin? So you had the, I gotta get rid of these. So it was the Greninja, the Dragonite V, the Jesse and James, and the Gengar VMAX. Because I think I only saw 4, based off of the new link that you gave me. That's what it was, yeah. Alright, well, let's see if the trade was worth it, but... Gryo, you are a goofy goober, my dude. That's literally all I can call you. You are a goofy goober. Okay. Greninja EX. The big chase of Twilight Masquerade. So the only thing, so the centering on the front looks good. The only thing that I could say, and you might have to confirm this for us, Austin, is so here are a few things that I see. First, this top right-hand corner, that I don't know if that looks like a lip or a bend in that top left-hand, or the top right-hand corner. I also see what appears to be a scratch across, it looks like a print line actually, because it's perfectly straight across from the left all the way across the right side. So both borders have that one print line essentially straight across. And that looks to be just a piece of fuzz, but maybe a little white dot on that bottom right-hand side too. So really, I only see 3 major issues that you might have to confirm. Is that the top right-hand corner on the back looks to be curled. I see a print line across, and I see a small white dot in the bottom right-hand corner. So I think I just saw you join back, Austin, if you want to confirm that for us or not. But I would say, again, with Modern, it's pretty much a 10 or bust. The white dot on the bottom right is a common issue. That other 10. I think you actually, I'm sorry, I think you mentioned that to me. But I think with the print line, though, the print line and the possible fold in the top right, I don't think it would get the 10. Is that corner on the bottom right cut? I don't think it's cut. It might just be a white dot, to be honest, but I don't know. But yeah, I think the print line's going to kind of hold you back a little bit. Probably not by like, it's probably still be like a 9, possibly. But I don't think you'd get the 10. Dragonite V. Centering on the front, looking pretty good. Let's take a look at the back. And I don't know if it's just the picture, like how the pictures are being taken, but this also looks like the same thing. So you have like see, like based off of what I can tell, like it looks a lot darker on that corner on the left side and on the right side, where like how the flash is being taken. But I could be wrong. I have no idea. And then you may have a little bit of a white dot on the bottom edge. The hollow of the front top right. Oh, yeah. That's a good call. Possibly right here. But I also see one on the top right, too. Like, right where, like, within the little magnifying range of the top right. Bottom left, too. Like here you're talking about? Within the magnified circle? The corner? Gotcha. But yeah, I probably wouldn't get the 10 on that Dragonite. I'd still say it's near mint, for sure. So if you have, like, TCG player, maybe list it there. The front on this is definitely off-center, for sure. The bottom specifically is a lot thicker than the top. But I love this art. This Jesse and James. It's so cool. This and my Gengar are my big chase cards. That's awesome. Yeah, right, Gry? Well, we got a nice little list of requirements for our grade review. But yeah, I love this Jesse and James artwork. It's so nice. The Meowth getting KO'd in the background, the Wobbuffet with like literal mud on its head, or I don't know what's back there, but and then Jesse about to slap the shit out of James. But yeah, I don't think, because of the centering, I don't think it would get the 10 from the bottom to the top because it's on the front. And then probably the big one that you're most curious about is probably the Gengar VMAX. This card has been exploding in price. So let's take a look. Let's see. The right side may be looking a tad thicker than the left, but I think you might be within that threshold. And then on the back, I would submit this if I were you. I'm like, can you get, like, is this a piece of dust? Like where the tip of my mouse is, that's just a piece of dust. If it is, yeah, if it is, I would submit this if I were you. Because, like, the worst case scenario comes back as a 9. And the best case scenario comes back as a 10. Because it looks like it's within the threshold, to be honest. So if this were my card, I would submit it for sure. Because the centering, I think the centering is within that threshold. In my opinion. But yeah, so thanks for letting me review your stuff, Austin. I'm actually waiting. I'm going to submit it when I get my Mega Gengar promo from Phantom. Ooh, that'll be sick. Definitely share in the Discord. Because I live vicariously through you guys. Because a lot of you guys have a lot better collection than I actually have. So, I live vicariously through all of you. I know, Poke. You know what, Poke? It's really hard. On a side note, there's so many people in the Discord and in TikTok that have like Poke that start, and I can't call everyone Poke. So you're the only person that I call Poke. I don't call you whatever your other name is, Mopo. And like now I've called you Poke so many times that I can't call you Mopo. It just sounds weird to me. It sounds like I'm talking like a 5-year-old. You submitted the Ninja? Nice. Well, hopefully it comes back. You know, I mean, obviously I hope it comes back as a 10 for you. At the end of the day. I hope it comes back at the grade you want it to be. Because, well, I don't work for PSA. I just pretend I do. It was actually really interesting. PSA started to offer for their express services and higher. So, like, the express, to just be honest, is, I think the cheapest one is like $75 a card. They actually have, yeah, that's literally what I was just about to say, Austin. They give notes now. For any service that's above 75, it's like the express or higher. They'll start giving notes. I feel like it'll be so funny because I feel like the notes will just say like bad centering or like whitened edges or someone literally took a dump on this card. Like I really hope that they're like super candid and like not professional. It's like, why did they submit this? It got bitten by a dog. It got bitten by a cat. Like this card is awful. I hope they're that candid with it. I know they won't be, but a boy can dream. A boy can only dream. But yeah. Alright guys, well I think that's the cue for tonight. Another episode down in the books. So just to kind of catch up. So tomorrow I'm going to be having my first, I will admit it's definitely going to be scuffed for sure. But I am going to be trialing multi-streaming tomorrow. So I'm going to be streaming over on YouTube, and then multi-streaming over to TikTok. And I'll have my webcam on. I'll be kind of chilling. I'll probably play some Pokemon Yellow. It's more just a test than anything. So if you want to come swing by and help me out, I mean, obviously you're not obligated, but if you want to see me on a different channel other than TikTok, I'll be streaming over on my YouTube primarily, but then trying to restream to TikTok to see how everything works and just get experience with it. Again, it's going to be so scuffed, would be my guess, but I need to do it. I need to rip the Band-Aid off, learn my lessons, and then just kind of move on from there. So I'll be over there tomorrow, continuing my playthrough of Pokemon Legacy, Pokemon Yellow Legacy. Super stoked for that. So yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me as long as you did. It was definitely a fun night, just kind of shooting with chat. It was kind of nice, honestly, having the regulars just kind of be dominant in the chat. And for anyone that was new that was sticking with us as well, I appreciate you hanging out as long as you did. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see you guys tomorrow in the Scuff stream. So I will catch you then. Peace.